gun control legislation that could be effective?
No.
Okay,
Let's
tell us how you really feel.
No, not legislation in the sense of further infringements on Second Amendment rights. This is a very clear mandate as well. This is off limits for the federal government. There is an inherent right for self-protection. There's an inherent right for self-defense, whether it be against a dangerous animal, whether it be against a criminal, an intruder, a foreign invasion, or even our own government that at some point has become tyrannical and gone the road. That's an inherent right. I don't really need a Second Amendment to tell me about that right. That's an inherent natural right. But the Second Amendment exists specifically for the last one in that list I just gave you, which is a government that has gone rogue and has become overly despotic. Now, not to say that's happened yet. I think that things could go down that path, or maybe we're on that path, and it may not ever happen. And it may not happen in this generation, it may not happen in the next generation, and it may not happen in generations after that. But here's what we have to be clear on. If we lose that protection in this generation, it's gone for all the future generations. And I am very much a pro-Second Amendment person. However, that being said, I'm also pro the other 9 amendments too. I mean, they're there for a reason as well. And here's what I want you as an audience, you probably already know this, but the viewing audience from the videotape, I want you to understand is that this assault on the Second Amendment right that we're seeing right now, this is not the war. This is the battle. The war is much deeper than this. The war is about the liberal agenda's efforts to undermine the entire framework of our constitutional form of government. They tend to view the Constitution as an obstacle to either be circumvented or ignored, or destroyed if they have the opportunity. They think they've got an opportunity here. They think Sandy Hook and some of these other tragedies that we've seen has given them this perfect storm to attack this Second Amendment right issue. But I really fear that if this one protection falls to these efforts, we're going to see the other constitutional protections fall over time, very much like a series of dominoes. This has been their agenda for decades, but they have intensified since November. The re-election of the Obama administration has re-energized their base. They see it as a mandate, as a green light to go after these freedoms that are guaranteed by our Constitution. They're not granted by our Constitution, but they are guaranteed by our Constitution as an effort to go after them because they realize it's in their way. And so there's no legislation from the federal level that's going to fix this because guns aren't the problem. Guns have always been a part of American culture. I mean, from our very founding, and I'm talking about powerful guns and high-capacity magazine guns have been readily available. But we haven't had these monsters that go into schools and kill, little children. That's a more recent phenomenon for the most part, to have it for any numbers at any rate. And so we have to ask ourselves, what's going on within the culture that's producing these monsters? Because it's not the guns. The guns have always been around. You can outlaw guns tomorrow. We've got enough guns to last us for the next 200 years. That's not going to solve it. Neither is limiting high-capacity magazines or anything else, because they are not the problem. Yes, they are the tool that is being used by deranged individuals, but we need to start asking ourselves what's going on within our culture that is producing these monsters. And I think if we really ask ourselves that question seriously, we're going to find that it goes back to taking our basic values out of the public arena. The Judeo-Christian values that this nation was founded upon have been taken out of the public arena, by and large. And when we took those principles out, we took out with them the moral foundation of our nation, the moral authority of our social institutions. And now we're like a generation or two into that now. Happened when I was a young kid, 1963, we started pulling the prayer out of school and stuff like that. And we have seen in this generation, and the one coming up now, we're seeing it produce these types of criminals. I'm career law enforcement. I have studied criminal behavior. I've studied how these people think and how they act and how they operate. Guns are not the problem. I'm thankful that we got guns in the hands of good people out there. I was watching the news today about this crazy thing going on in Los Angeles. If you picked up on that, as far as I know, this guy's still on the loose out there. And he is absolutely a threat to the community. Now imagine for a minute that, let's turn the clock forward 10 years from now, with outlawed guns in the hands of law-abiding citizens, and a guy like this is on the loose. And you can't protect your home and your family. What's to stop him from intruding into your home, from carjacking your vehicle, from shooting you on the streets, because he knows he's the only guy out there with a gun. And he was a cop. So no, that's not the answer. And certainly any more infringements, we need to repeal some of the ones that are there now. We don't need any more infringements than that. That is not the issue. You got to connect the dots and apply some sound reasoning to this, and not respond out of emotions. Everybody's upset about the killings at Sandy Hook. He could have taken a can of gasoline and a match and done just as much destruction and even more. It's not the guns. What's producing these monsters?
This one.